Alright guys, December 30th. Ended up coming out here the other night and set up this blind on top of this hill because we had Lefty never coming in range and always skirting the backside of this hill. And I knew the next time Allie could hunt was going to be Friday with a south wind, so that's why I set up this blind, because we can't hunt on the fence line behind us with a south wind. And we just got set up, and there's already 3 deer, 2 year-and-a-half-old bucks and a doe 130 yards from us, and there's deer starting to pile up everywhere, so we got to get quiet. But hopefully, God willing, tonight's the night Allie will get an opportunity at Lefty. Yeah, that's the deer we have the match set to from last year. And I thought he was 3 this year. Yeah, he's 3. Could be 2 though. They're all looking that way now. I'm gonna make sure he's facing away from us. And it's still early. We could wait if you wanted to. Okay, just hang on. I'm not gonna open the window until he's broadside. Oh, now he's broadside. He's the second one right down.
That one, don't lay down, right?
No, over. See him I just made?
He just scraped in the dirt.
Yes. I'm gonna range him.
I need to scoot my butt up or scoot this back.
Okay, hang on, I will. He's at 170 now. Just take your time, honey. Remember, straight up the leg. And then scapula.
Why is he hunched over?
Because he's
Can
just...
I shoot him?
Yeah, you can shoot like that.
I'm scared.
No, just deep breath, honey.
No, it doesn't.
You hit him. I thought I heard a thump. Alright guys, well, that was a deer that I encountered during the rut here. He's just a 5-year-old bully buck, and honestly, I did not expect him to be over here. His core was like 1.5 miles to the west of us. So I did not expect that deer to be here. The last pictures I have of him were during the rut, so I assumed he went back to his range. But he was at 165 yards. We got the muzzleloader sighted 3 inches high at 100. So at 150, it was like 3-4 inches low. So she put it right on the scapula. So I'm thinking it should have been a really good shot. We heard it. We know it hit him. But we did not see him drop, unfortunately. So we're definitely going to give him some time. It's like 3:40 right now. They came out early. We're probably going to go back to the truck and give him at least a few hours.
Wow.
Alright guys, next morning here. We're just getting back to the farm after the shot. We waited about 2 hours till dark. Last night drove down there where the blood entered the woods. Went in about 100 yards, and there was 3 beds, all with blood in it, and then the blood trail leading away from those 3 beds. And so we backed out. Wasn't gonna chance nothing, so we just backed out until morning.
We didn't want to chance anything. We're back here now, so we're gonna pick up the blood trail. The property that he went into, just in case we did get permission to take the muzzleloader, so my wife will have the muzzleloader just in case he's not dead, but he should be dead. The amount of blood from him, especially a muzzleloader, was unreal, so we're not too worried about it. We just backed out to be safe. All right, guys, we're just gonna go back there to start tracking, and at the fence line we see this fresh blood coming out of this field, and it was definitely from right before we got here. This is absolutely insane. All right, guys, mature deer are so tough. This is literally the last thing I expected from all that blood last night. So he must have got out of that bed last night, and I followed his blood from, you're not gonna be able to see nothing with this GoPro, but probably I'd say at least a mile and a half, but of that solid blood. Like, it is insane how much blood these mature deer can lose. But he did cross this highway, and I know who owns where he ran into, and it's just funny. It's a southeast, like a south-southeast wind, and there's a big pit that they bed in with a south wind, and he's probably 150 yards off the road, bedded on the downwind side of this big pit. So he's hurting. I mean, he's not, this is not what you want. I'm gonna go see if I can get permission for me and Allie to sneak up and around that pit with this wind in our favor, and hopefully put him down for good. Stuff like this is just stressful, but I guess it's a part of hunting. Stay with us. All right, guys, we got permission for where the deer crossed the road. It went into this pit like I was talking about earlier. We got permission to go in there with a gun, thanks to my good buddy that hunts it. But I'm thinking with the southeast wind, there's a big like pit, and I think he's going to be bedded right down below us when we sneak over to it. I'm gonna get the muzzleloader on the tripod, and hopefully my wife can get another shot at him. We know he's hurting. That blood that we followed could have been from last night, so he could be dead already. But all right, guys, I'm grabbing the main camera and tripod. So where he bedded over there, he went right on the back side of the hill, just like I thought. Bedded down. There's blood in both beds. He's bedded down twice. He did a circle, and he came right back through the same driveway. Well, I followed his blood from the field over there, and then now his tracks, and it just got done raining a little bit. You can barely see that brown, but those are his tracks. And now he's going to, I think, the little 14 acres of CRP that we have permission for, that I normally hunt. So grab the main camera and tripod, and we're praying he is bedded in there somewhere, but we haven't bumped him yet. This is all from last night, so we're gonna keep giving it all we got. All right, guys, we followed the blood from here, and I knew he was gonna be bedded right here, so we stopped. I set up the tripod, and the second I set up the tripod, he took off, and he stopped about 50 yards, quartering away. Allie put it on him, she shot, he ran 5 yards and fell over.
I'm scared.
That was the craziest track job ever, but we're gonna find out a lot when we get up to him, where she hit him the first time. Ready to go get him?
Mm-hmm. Go find old buddy Britt.
What?
Blood.
Blood? still looking for blood up?
Hey, buddy. Oh, buddy.
Congrats, Al. First 5-year-old deer. What a toad. What a toad.
Okay guys, just to recap the hunt, so yesterday we went in after Lefty, and about 3:20 this guy stepped out. His new name is Rip, and he stepped out about 3:20. It was about 160 yards, and Houston told me that he was an old bully buck and he had to be at least 5 years old, so I decided I was going to shoot him. So as I was saying, he stepped out about 160 yards and he was slightly quartering away, but I went ahead and took my shot. Houston told me where to aim and I put it right on him, and I shot him. He ran off, but we didn't really see where he went. He was around a bunch of does, and there's a whole bunch of smoke, and so we waited. We were gonna give him about an hour before we went looking for blood, but then a whole bunch of does started surrounding our blind. So we waited until dark, and then we went and looked for blood, and there was a whole bunch of blood. So we followed it into the timber and tracked it about 100 yards?
150, yeah.
150 yards, and he had 3 beds where he laid down, and so then we backed out and went home. We decided we were going to give him the night to die, and then we came back in the morning and we tracked his blood way too far.
Mile and a half.
Yep. Across the road, back across the road. And then we came up to the CRP where Houston suspected he was bedding. And sure enough, we just set the tripod down and he popped up. And I put my crosshairs on him, shot him again. He ran about 5 yards and he was down.
We weren't sure where she exactly hit him. She said she held it right on the scapula, right up on the top of the scapula. We knew she hit him because we heard it, and we seen him not doing very well as soon as he ran into the timber there. And then when we started tracking after it got dark, we found where he kind of stopped, I think 2 or 3 times, and you could see blood was coming out both sides, and there were puddles in the snow really close to each other. So I immediately thought, since there was no bubbles in the blood, I thought it was probably most likely in front of the shoulder. And I did deer cast track a couple shots in front of the shoulder in the region she most likely hit. They said if you have blood initially and a lot of it, that's a good sign that you hit either that main artery or one of those smaller arteries coming down. So I knew with the amount of blood, when we got to those 3 beds, the amount of blood after those 3 beds was still a lot. I knew for sure he would be dead, just didn't know exactly when. And he was bedded just on the backside of this drift. And as soon as he got up and I seen him, he was not in good shape, and he made it fairly slowly for like 60 yards and stopped. And her second shot was slightly quartering away, and she made a perfect shot. It went in maybe guts, probably not guts, but liver, lungs, and destroyed everything in there, and he expired immediately.
We really appreciate you guys watching. Remember to be humble, stay ethical, and never give up. God bless. I forgot what I was saying. So we were field dressing the deer, and we were taking a look at his heart, and we thought it was pretty cool, so we thought we'd share it with you. So all this is just black. It's all necrotic tissue. so it's dead. So we're thinking he was losing so much blood, he just wasn't getting enough oxygen to his heart, and it basically was killing his heart. So he was gonna die eventually, just losing so much blood. You can't even see any of the chambers in there.